All right, everybody, here we are again for the long haul segments. And as you know, my goal and my focus this year is just providing with you with massive education in terms of differentiating you from the remainder group. And one of the things that we've been focusing on heavily this year was going direct and sourcing your own freight and going into the direct freight marketplace. I met this gentleman a couple of years ago who's joining us tonight. Just an amazing, just a brilliant mind within the trucking space. Justin, who is the co-founder of Truckpedia, is with us tonight. Justin, welcome to the actual long haul segment tonight.
Thank you, Adam, for having me. Pleasure to be here.
You know, it's crazy. I don't know why I'm saying tonight. It's all light outside, man. I don't know why. I guess my days are crossed up, but well, Justin, one of the biggest things and one of the biggest push for you and what you're focused on, and you and I have a lot of the similarities in terms of what we focus on. But your biggest focus on is having the carrier think, especially the small carrier, think differently and becoming more apt to becoming that one that wants to get on the dedicated place and find their own shippers. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. I think a lot of carriers think that at three trucks, at five trucks, they're too small to get their own shippers. It's absolutely not. You don't have to go after Coca-Cola or Pepsi. You can find shippers equivalent of your size and start getting your own freight, right? And then slowly over time, you build up your carrier base and you build up your customer base as well and grow with them. And I think that is one common misconception the industry has is nobody ever teaches truckers, hey, this is how you actually go after direct shippers, and this is what you say to promote yourself.
The funny thing about that is that one of the objections you hear, and it's spread out all over social media, you hear, well, most shippers won't talk to you unless you have a lot of trucks. Like, tell me what you think about that.
I think that's true for certain shippers, right? We hear that most frequently from the bigger salespeople who have never been in your situation, right? I think those the saying is not necessarily wrong, but there's a lot of small to mid-sized business owners who own warehouses, just like we own trucks, right? You don't if it has like 20 loading docks, maybe that's not a place to knock on doors. And then what we want to the people that we want to talk to as a three truck, five truck owner is the forklift driver might be the owner of that small business. That's a perfect guy, decision maker. When you see that they got only two loading docks, you always have truck coming in and out. Maybe that's a place you should just go and introduce yourself. And then that's actually how I found my first shipper is by knocking on their door, introducing myself. I'm your neighbor, right? I just down the street from you. I own three trucks. I haul medical equipment. Notice that you guys own medical equipment. Can I introduce myself and see potentially if we can work together?
One of the biggest things that too, when it comes down to it, is and I did a class not too long ago on how to find those small boutique size shippers. And you spoke exactly what we talk about. You don't go down there and you don't look at the warehouses that got 30 and 40 loading docks. And one of the things that we see as a key identifier is what we tell our folks is that if you see a truck or if you see a shipper and they've got your massive mega carriers trailers lined up in the yards like your JB Hunts and your Schneiders, that might not be your shipper. But if you see that shipper and you look at that shipper and that shipper has trailers and has small mom and pops, well, they were probably moderated by a 3PL. This is your opportunity to go inside the door.
Absolutely agree with you on that.
Now, so from an approach perspective, give us a few of the objections, some of the biggest objections folks get and overcoming those objections when they're going to make that first call or that first email. Tell us a little bit about some of the pushback or some of the questions they can expect to see.
There's quite a few different objections. One objection that I can think of is we already have someone we're working with. Right, that's one. That's the most common one you're going to hear is we're already working with someone. We are not looking to add more carriers at the moment. Uh, those are probably some of the common ones that I hear very frequently from people. Or if the objection is, I'll pass your card to the right person, right? Give me your business card. I'll pass it to the decision maker, and then you never hear back again.
I love when people do that because I always look at, I'm going to make 8 to 10 touch points with somebody. You got to give me the middle finger, or you got to pretty much just tell me to go away for me to stop following up. And I think a lot of people, they just scared to do the hard work. They don't like the follow up. You can't sit there and send one email and then expect to receive, exactly what you want. You can't make one phone call and expect to receive exactly what you want. It requires a ton of follow-up.
At least 7 to 10 touches before you move your first load. At least 7 to 10. If you don't have, most people give up after 3 tries.
And the crazy thing about that is that's usually where it really starts. That's usually where the relationship building starts, is after the third try, because typically you don't really get to know somebody until after the third conversation or after the fourth conversation, and it all aligns well the same way from a business perspective. So tell us a little bit about what Truckpedia does to help unbreak that mold.
The first thing is what Truckpedia does is Truckpedia essentially the tool that I built after manually scaling my dad's business from 3 to 50 by working with shippers directly. Right, we put out everything into a system, systemize it in a software to help trucking companies of any size. It doesn't have to be 3 to 5; it could be hundreds of trucks to scale their business, build their sales team. Our goal is the first thing is you need to be visible online, right? Truckpedia give trucking company a template which you can build a website literally in minutes. Put your own online presence up, right? Keywords such as drive and trucking company hauling plastic in Las Vegas, Nevada. If anybody search that, you populate, right? Just different go-to-market strategies from inbound and outbound perspective. We also give trucking companies ability to send those emails to shippers, right, to target them and having a system to keep track of it. Most of the time, when it comes to sending email, it's people say email marketing is dead. It's not. It's the number one issue is the emails you send are actually not landing in their inbox. It goes straight to spam folders, right? You need to make sure you have a email inbox, email accounts that's warmed up, that's not using your main company domain or Gmail. You don't send email from your Gmail. Invest in a few dollars into actual business accounts that's different from your domain. And one email account, don't send more than 50 emails per day, right? So the math becomes simple. If you want to send 500 emails a day, you need to have 10 email different accounts to send that to make sure that you have the high deliverability. Second part is automate your operations, right? Besides doing the marketing side of things to get your name out there, most owners will tell you, I'm busy. I don't have time for that. Sounds great, but I'm too busy. Well, let's automate the $5 tasks, such as data entry, invoicing, calculating your profit and loss, knowing your numbers, maintenance, you name it, right? Automate as much of those possible so you can save about 1 to 2 hours per day on prospecting shippers and getting landing your own direct customers. That's what Truckpedia does. Give you the whole system as a TMS to automate your task, and then build your online presence and the tools to knock on doors, make cold calls, send email marketing to land shippers.
And I love what you first said. And one of the first things you said is business 101 is visibility. Number one, you have to have a website. And it's one of the things that we talk about within our community is the importance of having a website, the importance of establishing the differentiators, what differentiates you from the next trucking company, and the importance of making sure that you push that brand and you really enforce the fact that you're actually a subject matter expert or a service expert within that particular niche. You spoke specifically like, hey, if I'm a plastic hauler out of Las Vegas, Nevada, what you were speaking of was SEO, which is that SEO, the importance of having that. And that brings up when people are searching that.
Absolutely, right. I mean, for us truckers, when our truck breakdown, the first thing we do is, repair shops, mechanic, roadside service along this I-10, I-40, wherever at. Shippers do the same thing, especially the smaller ones. They're going to do the same thing. But when they search on Google, what populates often the top three are freight brokers. You see Uber Freight, you see Schneider, you see JB Hunt, right? All those bigger ones are populating. There's a reason why they keep on spending money on those keywords. But we don't have to spend money. Like you said, SEO, we can literally use keywords because in trucking, nobody does it, which is a huge advantage to truckers for the ones who do, right? If you put those keywords on your website, right, write several blogs, articles about how, what is hauling plastic like for dry van in this area, the key regions you cover, when people search over time, you will rank, you will populate.
The crazy thing too is that with small carriers, and I'd love to get your perspective from a small carrier standpoint on operating within that efficiency when they're actually making the phone calls. So when they're making the phone calls in that original outbound, what's the best approach for them to determine on if they're speaking to the right person to begin with?
I think that comes to lead gen. A lot of times depends on because people don't know how to find shippers. So what I would recommend is there. I think we need to find out who the decision maker is. Often, what I like to do is I will look in before I even make the phone call to begin with. I will look into my rate confirmation from the past 3 months and try to find a pattern. What commodities of what commodities I haul the most and what I'm good at, and then reverse that, work backward, go on LinkedIn using different tools like Apollo, very affordable, going backward to find the decision makers from those companies in the regions that I operate, and then call them backward. So that way I know I'm reaching out to the right person. And then the title with director transportation, logistic manager. So that way I increase my chance rather than calling a number on Google. Most likely you're going to get to a gatekeeper that everybody calls. So now you got a higher chance of talking directly to the decision maker. And if you talk to those people, you realize that most people reach out to them are actually freight brokers. Not a lot of trucking companies are reaching out to them directly. So that way you get your chance a lot higher when you make that phone call, right? Go straight. When you make that phone call. Hey, this is Justin. I'm your neighbor running a trucking company, hauling plastics only. Would love to work with you. Uh, can I can I how does that process look like to work with you guys, right? Because on the phone call, a lot of times they don't have time for a small talk with you, and they're very likely they're going to hang up on you if you don't get straight to the point. So you want to say keywords to get attention. I always love the neighbor card, right? I'm your neighbor. I run a fleet of trucks, only hauling plastics. Can we chat, right? So that way I get their attention right away, start talking to them. It's still, even with that, people are going to hang up on you. People are going to have money. They're going to tell you no. But if you make 100 calls, you're going to get a few people actually willing to talk to you. Call me back at this time. Shoot me an email to here. Actually, like you mentioned earlier, do that follow up now, right? If he tell you to follow up, get their permission, right? Getting permission from them is that, hey, shoot me an email. Okay, and then before they let the phone go, if they tell me that, shoot me an email to here, and I tell them, and I know you're busy. If I don't hear back from you, after sending that email, when should I reach out again? And when I do that, I'm asking them for permission. A lot of the time, they tell me, "Oh, give me about a week. If they don't hear back, from me, call me next Friday." And I write that down. When I call them again, now I got their permission. This is Justin. Hey, John, this is Justin. We spoke last Friday. You told me to call you back today. And then, oh yeah, I told you to call me back. So now they actually give me a few minutes of their time to talk to me and hear my pitch, right? So like you said, second conversation become a little warmer, and then third conversation you start building that relationship. Oh, what do you like to do for fun? Oh, do you watch the Lakers game? Oh man, they lost the Nuggets 3-0. We're gonna get swept again, right? So find that common interest, and then now you start talking, right? We're all people. You start talking, engaging with them, and they go, this person is actually cool, right? We do have loads. We're working with XYZ, and he's about 5% cheaper. We're same rate. Why not give him a chance, give him a try, right? It may not be right away, but like you said, over time, to nurturing that relationship, they will give it to you.
That's an amazing point. You led off with something that I drill home so much: the power of LinkedIn. And you mentioned it. You spoke about, hey, you know what? First I'm gonna find you, but then I'm gonna go look about. I'm gonna research a little bit about you on LinkedIn. So just reiterate the importance of why it's important to have a LinkedIn presence. Why the importance there is to be connected on LinkedIn.
I love when you mentioned emphasizing that part because that's where people hang out. Like, you got to go where your customers hang out. If your customers are on LinkedIn, which most shippers are, you got to be on there. See what they're talking about, right? Start engaging with them. That's a great way that you just mentioned over there. Start commenting, put on something thoughtful. If they make a post about X, write a thoughtful comment that's different from, not just a one sentence one. Write, engage with them, and then they will notice you. After engaging a couple of times, the first no, big no on LinkedIn is do not solicit for business right away after they accept your connect.
Yeah.
Start stalking them, getting to know them, and engage with them. And then after you know a couple of things about them, right? Having that engagement. So every comment you actually post, comment to their post, it counts as one touch. It's engagement. The more touches you have, the easier it is when you have that conversation.
No, that's a good point. Now, also too, you talked about the importance of having systems and how important it is for a small carrier just establishing differentiators to have a system such as a TMS system when they're presenting that to a small shipper. Just talk a little bit about that importance.
I think that it's crucial. It's huge because shippers often, if you hear them why they don't want to work with small carriers, often it's like you don't have the support, you don't have the technology to do EDI integration with us, right? Having a TMS enables you to give them automated tracking. When your truck arrives and departs from each pickup, you don't have to manually provide the update. A good TMS should be able to allow you to automate that tracking update to your customers. They may not need it every time, but it's good to see that update. An email coming, right? Trucking company understanding their profit and loss, understanding the whole operation in one place. DOT knocking on the door for inspection, everything in one place. Driver pay, it's all automated rather than you having to manually doing that. It takes away, it automates the manual work you do, and so that it can save those extra time having a system to focus on finding your customers directly, right? I think having a TMS is crucial. You don't have to wait till 10 trucks to get one. Nowadays, TMS are becoming much, much more affordable compared to 5 years ago, 5 years ago, right? With 5 trucks, you can literally pay like $200, $300 a month, getting a top-notch TMS to automate your business and leveraging that to land customers, right? There's one story. I actually met a carrier getting onto our platform because he spent a month trying to land a shipper. Finally, shipper goes, let's work together. And I need you to connect our EDI for tendering. He goes, what's EDI? And he almost lost that contract. That's when he started doing research and it reached out to us. Hey, can you help me do EDI? I have a shipper waiting for this connection. I'm like, sure, absolutely. That's something we can help you with. Right. So it's really important to have a good TMS in the beginning and then start structuring your business in the right way so that it can set yourself up for scaling.
No, that's great. Now, as we wrap up, you spoke about a couple of tools in order to really kind of set yourself apart to be prepared to work with direct shippers outside of 3PL. We talked about making sure you have a website. We talked about focus on SEO and improvements and brand improvements and structure. We're talking about have a TMS system. What other things or any tools that you would suggest or you would advise that a small carrier should use or be prepared to implement to ensure that they stand out amongst the next?
Those besides everything we talked about, I think it's also very important for me. I personally, my favorite part is actually a one pager. That one pager doesn't talk about your company because everybody will toss it when they have it. The one pager what should have is sample lanes that you run, like maybe the top 5 lanes you run the most, and put a rate on that. And then we knock on doors when we go to any conferences, pass that out to people. It's almost as if your truck breaks down, someone give you a mechanic give you a business card in the middle of nowhere. They tell you, hey, I know you're in Los Angeles quite a bit. Here's my business card. If your truck breaks down, call me. Very likely you're not going to call them. But on the back of their business card, they tell you, hey, here's my business card. My hourly rate is $65 per hour. That's unheard of. And it's that, and then you were never gonna toss it, right? You go, oh, it's $65. Everywhere it's like 130 right now. You're 65. I mean, I'm gonna for sure I keep that. Same thing of that one pager, right? It's not a tool. It's just a one pager about the top 5 lanes you run. Put a price on there. If you work with brokers right now, 100%, even if you mark up by 10%, you're still the cheapest carrier out there, right? You don't know that your rate is the lowest, but you are, right? When you share your current rate, mark up by 5 to 10%, right? And the 5 sample lanes, when you talk to people, hey, my name is Justin. I run fleet of 10 trucks. Just so you know, these are the lanes we run, how much we charge. When they look at that, they're not going to toss it. They're going to, oh, no way. Okay. Next time when they need it, they're going to keep it. Or they may take a picture of it, send it to their coworkers, send it to their office. When they have a need, they'll call you. I actually landed customers from that many times. With our current customers that we work with, we give them that as well. Here's a template, one pager. We knock on door. This is what we give them. Don't give them a brochure, pamphlets, fancy pamphlet. It adds no value to them. What shippers care about, end of the day, a relationship matters. But in order to build that relationship, they care about rates, right? Especially in market right now. Get your foot in the door, and then you build that relationship.
That's right. That's right, man. Well, I think that ultimately the path to success has started in this conversation. Really focusing on your own customer. Really just focus on building your business. Justin, I appreciate you spending the time with us to lend your knowledge. Like I said, you're one of the more brilliant folks out in the industry that I highly respect, and glad to see you in a variety of places. If y'all in touch bases with Justin at the Mats, matter of fact, somebody actually went out in this group and actually went out and met you at the Mats, didn't they?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We had a couple of people. Thank you, Adam. Same thing, right? The industry need people, more people like you, like us, to share that knowledge, to share that with people. It's doable. And lastly, Adam, before we end the call, one last advice is get started. Like, don't wait, don't plan. As don't wait for that website to be built. Don't wait for you have like buy 3 more trucks. Just get started, right? The hardest thing is grab a one pager, or even without anything, go knock on some doors, make some calls. Just getting started, I think, is the most crucial thing. Once you get started, after landing the first one, it all becomes easier.
I love it. I love it. Well, man, I appreciate you joining us. This won't be the last time that we hear from you. Definitely got some big things between Innovative and Truckpedia coming up very, very soon. Looking forward to seeing you at the next journey where we see each other again at the next stopping point somewhere between now and the summertime. So
absolutely, Adam. Always pleasure running into you. Always pleasure talking to you.
Absolutely. Likewise. Take care.
All right. Take care. Bye, Adam.